All right, it's a good Saturday morning to be on high school football scores from around the area, coach. We had a pretty busy Friday night, man. It was a few surprises in there, but I like what I saw overall. Thursday night, North Bay Haven down we were 37-6. North Bay Haven has 2 wins on the year, so it was a good Thursday night for them. Moving into Friday, Valwood 37, all over NFC 37-21. Man, Valwood was a tough team. We saw McClay battle them a week before, took it down to the wire. But Valwood hands NFC another loss on the year, 37-21. Columbia beating up Almighty Trinity Christian 27-20. And man, the Tigers are 5-0.
Man, I'm not surprised. They started off really good. They beat up on this. I think they started the season off with a victory over their next door rival, which is Swanee Bulldogs. And now, we halfway through the season, they undefeated. Coach Allen has returned to the program, has made them a powerful team to deal with, and struggle. They struggled for a couple of years, and now he's back and put in that discipline, and they're solid football they play at Columbia.
Yeah, looking at the way the Tigers' schedule matches up, there's a world where they could go 10-0 if they can stay healthy. I think the schedule really bodes well for them. But they have a few games on there that really stick out. They got to go to St. Augustine. They got Manatee, Ridgeview, and then they end the season playing at home against Bowles. So that's a tough schedule. But they've proven themselves so far, knocking off Madison, Coffee County out of Georgia, and then now Trinity Christian.
Yeah, Mark. They what they do is they play solid defense, and if you can play defense, you're gonna be in every game. And you can tell they emphasize that. They play solid defense and control offense. Hey, man, you can win almost any game if you can do that. Win the 3 battles, defense, special teams, and offense. You're going to win all the games.
Moving around the area, Gobby 35, Child 17, and man, the Cougars looked like they were able to put something together against a really tough and physical Child's team. Man, but the score says more than what we were talking about earlier in the week on the extra point. But man, a 35-point 17 victory, man, that means that offense finally came together for Gobby.
Yeah, it started off, Childs was running the ball pretty successful, moving the ball at will. Then all of a sudden, came back with some strikes, and it got kind of surprised because Childs is known for their defense, and they gave up some big scores to Gobby, but Gobby looked like Coach Houston is kind of putting it together there.
Yeah, I think that they had an opportunity really to kind of pull away from some teams early in the year. Just man, the collapses either by the defense or the offense not being able to convert. And Coach Holston, we talked to him earlier in the week, said that the kids have a lot of fight. They just got to be able to finish off drives, and it looks like they were able to do that against a tough Child team. So that's a big win for Gobby as they add another win to the dub column. I think they are 2-3 on the year. Child's, man, the hot streak, is coming to a close. Came to a close, but man, the Timberwolves really have turned some heads. We'll see how they fare for the rest of the season. Moving around the area, Florida High, big winner over South Walton. Visiting South Walton, 34-14, and man, this might have been what the doctor ordered for Florida High as they get a big win at the right time.
Yeah, that game was at Florida High. Watched that. I was kind of surprised. South Walton moved the ball when the first time they got it. They went right down and scored, and pretty much that was the end of it. Florida High dominated the game with, I think, 3 touchdown strikes. A returning quarterback, I think it's Miller, came back, and really, it was a total different Florida High football team. They moved the ball all over the field. Really, South Walton had no answer. And at the end, the defense kicked in for Florida High, which was a staple with them in the past, and looked like South Walton really was. It never was that close after the first quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, Florida High picks up a huge win at the midpoint of the season. This is how you want to come out of the bye week. They get another break, and then looking at their schedule, they still have quite a few tough games. They take on Childs coming out of the break. Then they finish out with a host of road games at Gaston, at Madison, at Bishop Moore, and then at Mosley. So still a tough slate for the Seminoles, but man, getting a victory at the right time really can make or break your season. Um, Moving around the area, while Colored beats up all on FAMU DRS 48-6. Madison County and Bay linked up, and man, this was an
Wow.
entertaining one. Bay led, and for a minute, and Madison just did not go away, but the Cowboys taking it overtime, 41-35.
That was a surprise. I kept up with that game. I didn't get to see it, but I was keeping up with the scores as they were coming in. And the like Bay had kind of pulled away. It was 28-27. Bay went up 35-27. And next thing you know, I looked over there and it was tied 35-35 going in overtime. And Madison pulled it out. They knocked them off. I think that game was in Death Valley is in
No, it was out in Bay. It was out in
it was
Panama
there. Oh,
City.
that's right. It was in Bay because it was behind it. It started like 8 o'clock last night. So yeah, that was a surprise to me. I thought that Bay was rolling. They were undefeated, and they would take a Madison team that was kind of wounded this year with those losses to these other teams. That previously, I think they were 1-3 going into the game last night, and ended up pulling out what I think is one of the big surprises of the day.
Yeah, when you look at Madison, man, the Cowboys they took the best shot that Bay had, and then they swung right back. It was really a back and forth battle the entire first half. Just one punch thrown by Bay, another one thrown by Madison. It kind of tells you a lot about the Cowboys this season. Don't take the record for face value. They really gave Bay. They went on the road and gave Bay their best shot and came out with a victory. So congrats to the Cowboys on a huge win. Bay will look to bounce back. Their schedule looks pretty. Bay's schedule looks pretty favorable going down the stretch. They've got a tough game against Pensacola, but they get them at home. Then they get West Florida, Walton, Rutherford, and Bozeman. So, man, if this was one of their toughest games, I think you can see Bay really standing up tall to that competition on the rest of their schedule.
Yeah.
Arcilla Christian, a big winner over Beaconton Charter, 20-14. Warriors able to add another win on the schedule. Ware County all over Lincoln, 42-9. And Trojans, man, looking for that offense, and it's tough going right now. Ever since the Nice game, they've been kind of in an offensive funk, and I know Coach Jackson wants to right that ship.
Well, this game was kind of weird. At first, Lincoln led the 9 point. I think it was like 9-7. Lincoln leading in the first quarter. I think Ware kind of took over in the second quarter, which was a surprise. And Lincoln defense had no answer for where they moved the ball up and down the field. Lincoln could not score. It struggled all night moving the football, and Coach Jackson and his staff got to go back and figure something out. They got some weapons, and they got to get some points on the board. You can't win if you don't. I mean, I think last week they scored 10. This week they scored 9. It's not going to be. You're not going to win too many games scoring that low.
Yeah, when you give up that many rushing touchdowns, because Ware County, I think they had 3 or 4 first half rushing touchdowns, and so the defense for the Trojans really out of sorts there too. And normally they play pretty dominant. They're able to put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but man, they just got pushed around pretty good by a Ware County team who's undefeated. Ware County now is 5-0. So Lincoln playing some of the tougher competition. They've got a lot of they got a really hefty schedule when you look at it. They've already played quite a bit with the out-of-town game against Nice. They had a victory against Madison County and Niceville. So I would say they're probably entering into the lighter part of their schedule. They got Leon then Gaston County, then Childs, Trinity Christian, Jacksonville, then finish out with Godby and Rickards. So Lincoln's still in pretty good position. I think that they really just faced a tougher opponent last night.
Yeah, yeah. I watched part of that game until it got out of control. So hopefully they can get things turned around. I thought they were one of the best teams in the area, uh, and then all of a sudden they ran into this part of their schedule where they play some pretty good teams, and it shows if you don't bring your A game to some of these teams, and especially when you're on the road, going to Georgia, it ain't an easy task. Hopefully they get things turned around.
Other scores from around the area: Jefferson County all over Vernon, 42-0. Coach Bright gets his second win on the year. Lafayette, a big winner over Zarephath, 43-14. Swanee gets another victory on the year, 34-4. Finally, Swanee gets their first victory on the year, 34-14. Congrats to Coach Hall and his team getting that first dub on the year. Clearwater Central Catholic all over Gaston County, 49-0. Taylor County, a big winner over Destin, 35-6. Bulldogs still undefeated. Franklin County gets back on the winning side of things with a 33-13 win over Rocky Bayou. Man, that Taylor Bulldogs really off to a hot start, Coach. They look sharp against a team they were really destined not on the same playing to the same level as the Bulldogs, but man, beating up on the teams you're supposed to beat up on and doing the things you're supposed to do is one of the reasons why they're undefeated right now.
Yes, Coach Braswell early in the season talked about, he thought he had one of his better teams, and it looked like they proved it on the field. When you go undefeated through this part of the year, man, you really get excited because you're looking at playoffs, seeding, and looking at what you can do and who you got to play. If you can beat up on your teams that you're supposed to beat up on, that's what you're supposed to do. No excuses. You're supposed to win the game. Go ahead and get it done.
Other scores: W.S. Neal, a big winner over Mariana, 55-0, blanking the Bulldogs. I think W.S. Neal. I gotta find their record, but I believe they're one of the undefeated teams out of Georgia. So, Alabama. Colquitt, a big winner over Rickards, 31-19. Rickards showed a little bit of fight in this one, going up against Colquitt. And, Raiders just kind of ran out of gas again when you look at taking on the Packers out of Georgia. Packers are 4-1. Raiders, man, just the one lone victory stands apart now as really for Coach Lewis. They really want to get that team back on the winning side of things, but tough loss for the Raiders on the road. Chipley remains unblemished with a 21-14 win over a tough J team. Chipley still with an unblemished record right now. Holmes County, a big winner over Northview. And, man, Holmes County gets their second win on the year, 25-12 over Northview. And then down on the beach, Leon pulls out the victory against a tough Port St. Joe team, 21-13.
Yeah, congratulations once again. Things look like they're turning around for the Lions, going on the road, playing a tough Port St. Joe team. You don't go in there and take a victory out of it. Not very many people do. And Coach Bell and his staff ought to be happy. It's a lot easier to practice when you win than it is after you lost. All you can find. And the best thing to do when you win is find all faults. The best thing you can do when you lose is find what you did good. And I'm thinking this week is going to be a great week for them to practice.
Yeah, for Leon, I think this is one where you can define your season with a big road win like this, especially at the halfway point. So congrats to Leon as they're able to hold off the Tiger Sharks 21-13. Sneeze edges Bozeman 20-19. Man, look out, man! Here come the Pirates getting a big a big road win against Bozeman. And for Sneeze, we knew they had a pretty good ground game, but man, that is an impressive win.
Yeah, once again, Coach Thomas and his crew, they go out, they win some tough games. You're not going to get an easy win if you beat them. They're going to grind it out. Coach putting things together. They graduate a bunch of seniors, seem like every year, but they come back with a nice crop of kids that can play. Everybody been in the system. Coaches put I think a solid program together there at Snead, and I look for them to be a playoff team also coming up this year.
Yeah, so Snead's a big winner. Fort Walton 21, Walton 19. And man, the Vikings get off of the winless column and finally get nabbed their first victory over the season over the Braves. Braves stumbled down the stretch as they dropped one against their in-county rival. Fort Walton Beach 21, Walton 18. Bluntstown, man, the juggernaut keeps rolling. Is there a huge winner over Arnold, 58-22. And then rounding out the scoreboard, Mosley, a big winner over Escambia, 46-15. Man, Bluntstown.
Mark, you ran over something, Mark. Mr. Amari Thomas, from what I looked at the box score, had 370 yards in the game. On only 20 carries. Man, I looked at stats this morning. I'm like, what in the world is going on? I tried to look at the replay before we came on, but I was looking at it, I'm like, man, what in the world is going on? 20 carries, 300 something yards. Oh, yeah,
that's doing work right there. But yeah, that'll do it for week number 5.
Mark, I have to give a shout out. I promised some people, and I have to, every time we come on the show, I want to give a shout out to my teammate. He called me early this morning, and I told him I'd give him a shout out. Hiram Farmer. He's sitting over there at the getting breakfast, and I'd like to thank my panhandle person, Miss Jathan, and I appreciate that because sometimes we can't get scores, and when you got people in place helping you out, that we really appreciate it.
Shout out to those people. We always appreciate the help, man. But yeah, those are week number 5 scores. We'll have it all broken down on Wednesdays on the Extra Point podcast, 9 p.m. unless otherwise noted. But that'll do it for week number 5.